Isn't it incredible just how small electric bikes are becoming? But due to their smaller size, does that mean they lack power? Well, today we're going to take a look at one of the smallest e-bikes on the market, and it is in fact the DYU D3F Mini Folding Electric Bike.
When it comes to choosing an electric bike, you want something that you can bond with. Of course you want comfort, but you want luxury, sophistication and speed, a good battery life, and most importantly, it must be within the reach of your budget. So can you fall in love with the D3F from DYU? Well, when you first see it, you may possibly think that it's just a toy due to its rather small form factor. But they do say you should never judge a book by its cover. So let's take a closer inspection and see how well the D3F can do as your better half. To begin with, it arrives in a very large box, and then another large box inside that. In fact, it took me around 15 minutes just to get the two boxes apart. But I suppose it's always good to receive an item that has been well packaged for its journey. Inside said box, well, everything arrives intact, and apart from the D3F itself, you also get an instruction manual, a rear mudguard, a 15mm open wrench and Allen key, a quick release clamp, a rear LED light, a 42 volt 1.5 amp charging brick, a power lead, and two plastic pedals. Once you have your new personal transport unwrapped, there is a little construction required, such as the pre-mentioned mudguard and plastic pedals, but this is very simple to do and will only take you a few minutes. And then before you know it, you can take a step back and admire your assembled, motorised dandy horse. And for me, this is where the love story truly begins. Because when you look at the D3F, you can see and feel that this is aimed for the smaller rider who is also on a strict budget. Everything has been stripped back to reduce the buyer's price. Think minimalistic if you wish. The frame is produced as a low-step aluminium one with a 44.6 inch wheelbase. The wheels themselves are 14 inch in size, and housed in the middle is a surprisingly large 36 volt battery that powers the 250 watt rear hub brushless motor. You have a rigid built-in front LED headlight and a detachable one at the back. Brakes are mechanical disc brakes, and you also have a trusty kickstand, and not forgetting front and rear plastic mudguards. Finally, arriving at the handlebars themselves, well, here you'll find an on-off button, a bell, a very simplistic LED battery level display, and a multi-function button for engaging either cruise control or the front headlight. But what is this love story, I hear you ask? Well, when I first grabbed this minute, miniature, tiny e-bike, I couldn't really see how I was going to fit on it, never mind move around on it. The design is exceptionally unique and it does feel well made, but because this is one of the cheapest e-bikes on the market, it's not just the size that has been scaled back. For example, there is no horn, just the pre-mentioned stick-on bell. The battery indicator is quite literally 4 LEDs, and even the rear light is manually placed on by yourself via a simple rubber catch, which means it will need its own batteries and is not automatically powered by the bike. And yes, I suppose these are only small details, but it does make you think what is really capable of the D3F. Basically, I was very wary. Looking at the DYU website though, it does state that it can handle a load of 265 pounds with a top speed of around 15 miles per hour. The motor can propel you up 15-degree slopes with a range between 15 and 35 miles in throttle mode and 30 to 37 miles in pedal assist mode. Which then, when you think about the scale of this e-bike and then match it with those specifics, that's actually pretty damn good. And then came the time to take it out on our first date. And so I fired up the D3F, placed on my odd looking helmet, and let this miniature instrument do its stuff. And it did. Immediately, all doubts were lost. It propelled me like it promised it would. I was even surprised with just how well it could not only take my ample weight, but also provide some damn good comfort too. And in regards to me fitting on the bike itself, well, as you can see, I did with ease. I'm not gonna lie, but quick thoughts would flash through my head of wondering if I looked slightly peculiar riding such a tiny thing. Did it look like I had just stolen a teenager's Christmas present? But it wasn't long before these thoughts were soon lost in the sheer enjoyment that was being offered on a startlingly smooth ride. Don't get me wrong, of course, because if you live in a not so smooth area or wish to take this off-road, then expect to feel the bumps even more so due to the fact of only having 14-inch wheels and no suspension throughout the frame. But on roads, pavements or cycle paths, it is a stimulating and satisfying ride. Pedal, cruise or both, either way the D3F can get you to your destination. Yes, maybe with a few additional wobbles, but it will triumph. Now however, let's get down to business. Although the ride is good, hills and slopes are a bit of an issue. Now I wouldn't exactly call where I live a mountain terrain, but from the not so large gradients that I found, the D3F could just about manage to get me up them. So even though it is stated as managing 15-degree slopes, with me on it, I doubt that is possible. I do like the one-touch button with different options and feel this works well in keeping the handlebars clutter-free. For activating the lights, you press and hold the right-hand button for approximately 4 seconds. And to activate the cruise control option for giving your legs a quick break, then whilst you pull the throttle back, just press the button once and then simply sit back and enjoy the view. I must point out though that one thing that appears to have not been scaled back is the comfort of the seat. This will of course vary depending on your own physical form, but for me the springs and cushioned bum rest really did soak up the majority of the bumps found throughout my journey, as long as they weren't too big. But well done to DYU for providing a valuable ally when it comes to keeping my rear end intact. And even though this is an entry-level commuter's vehicle that is very simplistic and of course dwarfed by many other electric bikes, as I was riding it, I suddenly realised just how much fun the D3F really is. Its ability to glide around corners and tight angles heighten the joy of being able to shoot through crowded or small areas with an attitude of simplicity. Although I'm not exactly young, whilst riding I felt like I was taken back to my youth all those years ago. The distinctive design drew the attention from passers-by, but in awe and inspiration, not in displeasure. And when it comes to speed, it does seem to hit the mark. But I am only guessing, because as you know, unfortunately there is no speedometer or accompanying app with the D3F. But remember, this contrast of peculiar and beauty in terms of its design is going for the minimalist look as a simple but swift escort. Personally, I would always say yes to a speedometer, but reflecting the cost of this electronic bike, you wouldn't expect it anyway. The heart of your new companion houses the 10 amp-hour lithium battery, which takes around 5 to 6 hours to fully charge. And during the numerous moments we spent together going up and down roads, taking in the sights and, well, holding handlebars, I would average around 4 to 5 miles per half to 1 LED indicator, depending on the amount of elevation, cruise control and assisted pedalling. Basically, I would have no hesitation in taking a 20-mile route before even thinking about recharging, but would be slightly more careful if the route expanded into the 30-mile mark. The best thing though, I have to admit, about the D3F is just how much entertainment is provided when you ride it. Thanks to its impressive little specs, it's a nippy go around with a minimal and easy to store design. You ride, you store, you cruise, you carry. And although I wouldn't recommend carrying it very far because the 38 pounds weight still feels a lot heavier than it looks, but thanks to the impressive inbuilt handle, this does make tackling steps or loading it into the back of your car a lot easier. Plus, with the quick release catches to lower the seat and fold over the handlebars, once again this little device will surpass its requirements, even more so by becoming even smaller. If you are riding this in the day, then you'll be seduced by just how easy it is to use. But if you ever get stuck out in the middle of the night, then you do have the accompanying lights to help illuminate your route. Yes, they are small, and you will notice that the light itself doesn't shine where you want it to when you turn because it is built into the frame and not attached to the handlebars. But at least you will become more visible to other road users as well. Overall though, as much as I'm enjoying almost everything about this smart little travel machine, I'm sure all you really want to know is it right for you? Well, I would recommend it for city commuters, or at least for those living in an area which has a majority of being flat. The D3F is an easily accessible bike with plenty of features despite its budget level in the e-bike market. It's fairly light compared to others available, easily compactable, and creates that curious wow factor when it is seen on the move. I'm around 5'11" in height, but if you are around the 6 foot mark, then it may be a little too small for your liking. And obviously, depending how and where you use this will affect the overall performance in terms of its mileage. It should also be noted that the bike seems to arrive with the brakes fitted opposite to the standard formation. By this I mean the right lever operates the front brakes instead of the usual rear ones. The battery is also not removable, but if you do run into any issues, it can actually be replaced. To summarise though, and taking all that into account, I think the D3F can take a lot of criticism for its flaws, but luckily they are quickly outweighed via its many positives. It does the job of bringing you to your destination, and its unique design and size makes it easily storable when it's not in use. But I feel the most important factor the D3F brings is just how much fun it is to ride. Whether blasting through the town or simply cycling around the park, you will get a lot of enjoyment with this quirky gadget. And as much as it pains me to say that some people may not like it, for me however, well, I absolutely love it. And there we go, that was my quick review for the DYU D3F electronic folding bike. However, just a quick disclaimer is that although DYU did send us this bike for the purpose of this video, the thoughts and opinions expressed throughout this review are purely my own and completely impartial. Before I go however, if you've got any questions or comments or even thoughts about the DYU D3F, then please place them down in the comment section below. Not forgetting, if you enjoyed this video and you like tech and gadgets, then please show your support to the channel by liking this video and of course subscribing as well. But until next time, thank you all for watching. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and I'll see you at some point very soon. Thank you.